Hello, hello, hello. Thank you all for tuning in. Welcome to Melanated N Business. It is me, just Joci, and my co-host TaWanda with the T will tune in with us a little later. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. Welcome you to the show. We are here every Thursday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Tuning in, highlighting all Black and brown businesses in the community, for the upliftment of the community, for you all to view and share. Our guest of the hour, Mr. Douglas Braxton of Zeus Movers with the two S's. That's on purpose.
It's really not two S's. Might have been a typo.
I was like, oh, that's different. That's new.
You know, we try to keep it fresh around here.
I appreciate what you did there. All right. So, Mr. Douglas Braxton.
Yes, ma'am. Talk to me.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here today.
Yes, ma'am. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm thankful for this opportunity that you all are giving me to just speak to the people and share some of my experiences and my path in business. And it always feels fantastic to be melanated while also simultaneously being in business.
You know what? We are not here for this today, okay, sir? We're not doing this today, Mr. Braxton.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I am officially the producer and the host.
Okay.
Y'all know I be multitasking. Y'all know how I do up on the show. So, that's Douglas, let's get into your business.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is Doug?
Well, I'm Douglas, born in Birmingham, Alabama, raised here in Atlanta since the tender age of 3 years old. I came up, my mother was very heavy in business here in Atlanta. Shout out to Maddie Rock. She did a lot of selling clothes and modeling and things of that nature. And then she went on to do networking for Black businesses here in the metro Atlanta area. She was very huge in that until she had to kind of stop doing that. But she basically instilled in me a lot of things that I'm practicing now, as well as the networking aspect of networking with like-minded individuals and doing business within the community and connecting people and brands together so we can all share the benefits of shopping and doing business in our community. Right now, we currently own and operate Zeus Movers as well as Zeus Landscaping. You can follow us on the web on Instagram at Zeus_movers and Zeus_landscaping, as well as find us on the web at www.zeusmovers.com and net, as well as zeuslandscaping.net as well.
Cool. So you're entrepreneurial. I love saying that word. Your journey, right? Started watching your mother, or was it kind of like you saw it a little bit and you had other plans for your life? How did you become on this path?
Honestly, I think it was the same way like it is for most young adults. You don't really know, you know what I mean? You don't really know, and you don't really experience that aha big bang moment, and I guess until it's really happening. And some of us don't actually experience it until we're well into it. For me, with her, it was more of a thing where she kind of actually forced us to work in her businesses. She would do things. We go to her shop on the weekends, and she'd have us doing inventory, answering phones, that sort of thing. So she would teach us very hands-on about customer service, how to answer the phone, how to do those sorts of things. And as a kid, I think I was probably maybe 8 or 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And she started this very young. In addition to once she started doing the networking, there will be times when she was doing networking events and shows, and there would be a block of time that came up where somebody maybe wasn't on time or somebody wasn't there. And she would literally, say, Dougie, get up on stage and do something. And I'm like, like all the nervousness, the butterflies were there, but it was like, after being put in that position so many times, I got used to it. So as you could tell from this video, I'm used to talking to people and interacting with people on that level. So she definitely, I don't necessarily, it wasn't one of those things where she inspired me to be an entrepreneur. Some of the things that I had going on in life kind of led me down that path. However, I realized that once I did start that journey and get into that journey, I was equipped with everything that I needed knowledge wise to be able to be successful at what I was doing. So, yeah.
You was kind of like dance in the living room on a larger scale.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, Miss Maddie has been instrumental in a lot of my business practices as far as just the core value of how to do business, which is I think one of the biggest things that a lot of young Black entrepreneurs tend to miss, as far as just the etiquette surrounding doing business, the formalities of doing business, having contracts in place, having things written down, invoicing people, and keeping up with everything that's going on with your business internally and externally. So that way, the experience that people have is one as though they're doing business with a business and not just doing business with you. You know what I mean? So that's something that that I'm blessed to have received at a very young age, and I thank her for that always.
Now, real quick, Mr. Braxton, is that noise? You hear that noise?
I can't
Our
hear
viewers tuning in. Can you hear that noise?
Nobody said anything.
Like, I'm looking at the viewers, and I can't tell if it's you or me, but it's that popcorn noise again.
Not
We're
sure.
gonna talk over it and see if it disappears on us like it did earlier.
Okay.
And see what happens. I'm hoping that okay, so it's gone. See, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I keep switching the microphone back and forth from so they say they can hear, so we're good.
So I'm gonna need you to stop touching stuff.
All right. Well, no, it switched. I just keep bouncing it back and forth. We're gonna make this little ghetto.
Okay, so whatever microphone you bounced to just now, don't go over there no more. Stay
right.
over here.
I'm gonna see if I can you can go ahead and keep talking. I'm gonna see.
Okay, we good. So you own Zeus Movers and Zeus Landscaping, right? Correct. Your name is Doug. So how did you come up with this whole Zeus thing? How did you come up with the name Zeus? Because you pretty much branded and expanded that. There's an echo.
Yeah. So the beginning and the inception of Zeus kind of sort of came from the idea that I wanted to be the most powerful. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the strongest in the game. Being that it's a moving company, it only makes sense that we exude strength, we exude dominance in the industry, and that's what I was after. So it kind of just took off from there. It worked very well. I mean, now people call me Zeus at this point. Our shirts are actually "I am Zeus" is on the back of this shirt. So even when I'm out, a lot of days, it just happened to me the other day, somebody stopped me and was like, "Yo, I really like your shirt and your hair. You really are Zeus." And I thought that was pretty cool. So I kind of just ran with that brand. It works for me. It works for the brand. And it has done well over the years. I'd never think about changing that.
So along this journey of life, what are you doing, sir?
No, I'm just trying to see if I can connect my headphones real quick so we don't have that issue again.
Along this journey of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said earlier that your mother, you and your siblings, and then your mother had the entrepreneurial journey and things that she was doing. So with that compared with being a young Black man in Atlanta in the late 80s, 90s, right? What was that like? What was that experience look like that helped mold you into the man that you are today?
It's funny you say that, because even during those times, you really, and I think it's important for a lot of parents to understand also, you think that your kids aren't listening. you think that they're not paying attention to the stuff, and even in those moments they really aren't. But at the time when it was happening, I didn't care. I mean, I'm a child. Why would I care? You know what I mean? But it was so repetitive in the sense that this was the environment that I was put in. I'm pretty sure if I had been placed in a room full of musicians repeatedly, I probably likely would have become a musician to some degree or had some knowledge of music. During that time, it was very fun. We traveled. She did fashion shows in backyards all over the United States. She would travel. She had models that, she took with her friends that she met in corporate America, and they would all go model out of town and sell clothes right then and there. It was Matty Rock and the Rockettes. Please
Stop it.
I'm so serious. Don't send the trademark police after me. But that was her thing, and a lot of her friends are on my friends list too. And it was very fun just being in that environment because all of my mom's friends had kids, and we'd all hang out, and it was basically seeing her do her thing because we came up in a lot of the rough neighborhoods. She just told me the other day while we were riding that we actually lived in the old Bronner Brothers building right off 20. And back then it was a rooming house in the 80s. And, she came to Atlanta, with these big city dreams like a lot of people do. And, and it worked out for her, so during that time, it was very fun. And we lived in some very violent and rough neighborhoods growing up here in Atlanta. And the crazy part about that is, my mother did very well to keep us away from those sorts of things, to shield us from, I don't know what the difference is as far as what she did in the experience, but we literally grew up around, drug addicts. They were some of my best friends as a child. And she even disclosed to me that she would have some of those people pick us up from school and drop us off, and I just look at that situation and think about how many different ways that certain situations like that have gone, and just felt blessed that her opportunity to come into business, to come into Atlanta and to be able to grow was a blessed one. And for me, it's been a pretty dope ride just experiencing that with her. And growing up around that, it's just something that I got used to. She was always doing something. She had me editing photos. She'd have me trying on clothes and modeling clothes and taking pictures and doing that sort of thing. So to this level where I'm at now, all of this stuff comes naturally to me. I've done plenty of hosting professionally. I've done promotions myself. It's something I still dabble in that I kind of backed off of because of Corona. But just right now, just speaking and talking to people and being an inspiration is just something that I love to do. And she definitely, during that time frame and that time period, I picked up a lot from her, and I watched her grow. And again, she came from somebody who literally worked at the Miss Winters right off Lee Street. And before she left corporate America, she was making well over six figures with just a minor, community college degree. I don't even think she had a degree, but she did a lot in her tenure as a businesswoman. She did a lot for the city of Atlanta. She did a lot for the business owners in Atlanta. I'm very proud of her, and I always use an opportunity when I'm speaking about these sort of things to highlight that thing. And also, reiterate to parents that you don't think that your kids are listening. You don't think that they're paying attention, but they are, and that stuff stays with them for their entire life. So no matter how asinine the task might seem, continue to instill things in them. They will receive it, and they will show you later on that they were paying attention. I promise you.
So how long have you been in business?
Right now, officially on paper, I've been in business for 12 years, but I started this company. It's been about 14 years. The very first company that I owned was a landscaping company. It was called That's Right Lawn Care. And that was the very first one that I owned. I was still kind of, trying to figure out life at that time. I was still in the streets a little bit, still dabbling in things in the streets. So I had made up my mind about business, and then some experiences and things took turn for the worse. And once that happened, I was able to kind of hone in on my talents, and obviously at that point I was fearless about what I needed to do because I didn't really have many choices.
So this dibbling and dabbling that led you down a different path, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How
I'll
did
talk
you?
about it.
I'm about to get in your business. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. I'm about to get in your business.
And can you hear me okay, by the way?
I can.
Okay,
I
perfect.
can. Um, Going down that path, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did that pause, and how long was that pause? How did it affect your business? Your move from the previous landscaping company to Zeus Movers.
So just to give you a little background in that situation, I mean, it's all done and over with now, so I ain't scared to speak about it. But I was heavy into crime at one point. Like, I know it's hard for a lot of people to believe, but I was definitely somebody who, at this point in my life right now, if I had met someone like me, I would seriously be trying to help them. From drugs to just dealing with violent situations, robbing people, you name it, that sort of thing. And so the weird thing is I actually started the landscaping company while I was on the run from the U.S. Marshals during that time frame. So it was weird because, I mean, during that time, I had nothing but time. And so it was just like, all right, well, this is just what I'm going to do to kind of, in my mind, it really wasn't even something that I really had given a lot of thought to. It was just like, let me just, one of my buddies had a lawnmower. We fixed it, got a couple of other little used tools, and we went to work. But during that time, eventually, obviously, I got caught. And so on and off over the next few years, I would go to prison. I'd do a total of almost like 6 years total. During that time frame, it was kind of off and on. The most I did at once was like 18 months. But the 18-month ride was the longest stretch. And I during that time frame, I got to tell you, it was definitely an experience I'll never forget. One of the things that kind of helped mold and shape the direction that I wanted to go in was there was a common thing that kept occurring while I was in prison. And the more it occurred, it helped me to realize something. Um, I'm here, I blend in. I'm coming from a criminal background, so I blend in with these guys, on an intimate level, like to where they don't feel any kind of way about talking to me, or I'm one of them. But through my interactions with them in this environment, I realized that I was nothing like these guys. A lot of them were very uneducated. A lot of them couldn't even read letters that their children who couldn't even spell well. They couldn't even read poorly spelled, things that children had wrote. And some of the things that I would talk about that I didn't even realize were outside of the box, because I've always been the type of person to seek out knowledge and retain information that was relevant to something that I was doing. And so I kept realizing over and over again, like, wow, these guys don't really know a whole lot. And it helped me to realize that, the reason why guys keep coming back to prison is because they don't know any other way other than the ways that they know. And that's a huge, so when you talk about, criminal justice reform and that sort of thing, that's something I've experienced firsthand and that I've witnessed and I've seen, right there in front of my eyes. And so during that time frame, and obviously you've never been to prison, so you don't know, but just to share with you what that experience is like, it's almost like being in a thought deprivation chamber. You're taken away from everybody and everything that you love, and the only thing that you have is you. And in that moment, you start to go inside of yourself, and your whole life plays back in your mind. Every situation, everything that has gone on that brought you to this point. And I literally, I would read. I love to read because there's nothing to do when you're there. So I read a lot. I did a lot of reading. I read a lot about business. I read a lot about just a various array of topics about politics, that sort of thing. And I sat, and I think I still got the paper and some items I got stored away, but I sat and I wrote out what it is that I was going to do, and I wrote out all of my plans. I wrote out everything that I wanted to do business wise, and so once I was released, I hit the ground running, and I didn't look back. I never, ever once, not even one time, so much as even dabbled back into that lifestyle or dabbled back. I cut off a lot of the people that I was dealing with because a lot of them, and you hear this a lot just in regular, online chatter and banter, but a lot of these people weren't happy that, I wasn't a part of this outfit anymore. It disturbed them greatly. They couldn't understand, how somebody could leave that alone. Like, it's popping over here. So, my mindset was more so along the lines where I wanted to make the same amount of money as a businessman that I made as a drug dealer. And that was like my thing. I was like, so I just went forward with that idea. When I came home, I had the clothes on that they sent me home with. I had a pair of khaki cargo pants, and the Bobo shoes is what they call them. They look like Chucks, but they not Chucks. And a white T-shirt, and they gave me like $40 or something like that. I had spent the $40 before I even made it back to Atlanta. And I hopped off the bus at the Greyhound, and my sister came and picked me up, and it was, there was this all the friends pulling up, and it was so weird. All of these people were pulling up, and they're bringing alcohol. And it was so weird, and I accepted. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a party, whatever. But there were so many things that I actually needed in business, and this. So when the time came after the fact, and I'm like reaching out to people like, yo, I need to borrow XYZ to be able to buy a phone. And folks is patting their pockets, and yeah, man, I'm like, we just drunk $300 worth of liquor, and this don't make sense.
Right.
So long story short, I probably went an entire month before I even bought clothes. I actually booked the very first move that I booked. I managed to book it through email without having a phone. It was $1,000, and it was a DeKalb County Superior Court judge that I moved. She was a close friend of my mom. Come to find out after the fact, and I booked her through the email, and from there, by the time all the labor and the cost was done, I probably had about $500 left. And I gave that $500 to my mom because she had just recently lost her husband. She wasn't working. So I'm right back at square one. I gave her every dollar that I had. So as time went on, I booked another one through the email. And from there, I bought a phone. And the very first money that I got after I got that phone, I paid for a website. Coincidentally, my mother is the one that sold it to me because she was selling websites at the time, and she wasn't just gonna give it to me for free, So I bought a website from her. I built it myself, and from there, the rest was really history. It just everything began to come together. Because I was still on probation following my release, I had a few hiccups where I just wasn't, abiding by the rules, and I had a couple of hiccups here and there. But once that was over, I pretty much, it's been smooth sailing ever since. All the doors are open, and everything is exactly what it should be. I worked very hard up until this point to make Zeus Movers what it is, and bringing Zeus Landscaping in later. It pretty much took off the same day that I turned the open light on. So it's been a blessing. It's been an amazing journey. And just looking back on those situations, man, and, I'm oftentimes mentoring and talking to the youth in the community. And I, too, was that same individual who needed that kind of inspiration. And the sad thing is, it wasn't until everything had already happened that I finally got it. And I think a lot of community efforts that are out there don't realize that these kids are going to go through what they're going to go through, and they're just going to come out on the other end. It's just making sure that they have the tools when they come out on the other end, and when they go through these situations, that to be able to properly rehabilitate them. Because without an education, they don't have options. They don't have and I didn't even realize how smart I was until I was in that situation, because I'm talking about things that were normal to me. And people like, bro, what did you talk? What's that word again? Tell me what you said. And I just thought that was odd. And I'm like, wow, the 90% of the guys who are in here are uneducated and lack basic and common knowledge that you would need just to be able to simply fill out a job application. So it made perfect sense why a lot of them were there, but it didn't make any sense whatsoever why I was there. And even just to go back on that comment, it doesn't make sense that they're there. It makes perfect sense as to how people end up in that situation because lack thereof of education and proper guidance.
Got it.
Sorry, I get long-winded.
You're fine. It's an interview. The interview is for you to talk. So,
Right.
I appreciate you talking and letting our viewers, in on that side of your life and that part of your life, because a lot of people are afraid to talk about their struggles. They're afraid to talk about those dark spaces that they are in that pushed and elevated them along to the space that they're in now. You know what I mean?
Right.
You kind of got to get wet to appreciate being dry,
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's really unfortunate that it plays out that way. But I think in all actuality, that's going to be a huge way for people to learn, a huge way for people to teach. These things, it's just unfortunate. You really have to go through certain situations in order to learn on your own. Like, it's okay when somebody tells you, and it very well may cost you your life trying to learn. But that's just how human nature is, and especially during this time where kids are doing the absolute most, and that's just a lesson that they're gonna have to learn for themselves when they get their lives completely taken away from them, and you spending your entire life behind bars, and you spending your life watching your kids grow up that you had very young, because you didn't understand that you had options and you have talent and you have abilities that you may have not even tapped into. But you also have to have the exposure, which I wanted to touch on again. That was the only difference for me, is that I was exposed to this type of stuff as a child. What you expose your children to is highly likely what they will become. So some kids are just gifted in a way where they don't need all that stuff. They just run off with whatever it is that they do. But others, for me, conventional learning was not my thing. I dropped out of high school and got a GED. And, I never felt the way about it. I never felt the way about dropping out. I never felt the way about, getting a GED. And, for the most part, I mean, I make more money than some of the people who've graduated high school and went to college and got master's degrees. So, and I don't want to create a narrative to discourage anybody from furthering education. But I think just opening up the options, I think what led me down the path where I went is because it felt like that, because I failed at this thing particularly, or I didn't set this bar where everybody has set the expectation so high, then I lose. I'm out of it. Like, and I think that's going to be a huge part of turning these guys around and saying, listen, you don't have to be a scholar. You don't have to be somebody who's really book smart to be able to further your education and get a trade, something that you can really use and something that you can really make money from. It's that simple. And I think once we kind of stray away from the idea that college is the only path that a lot of these kids can take, it takes a different mindset when they're coming out of high school or when they've dropped out of high school, to see that the options are available for them to continue to be able to get a trade in something that they can still make a lot of money from and become business owners and so on and so forth. So I never did those things, but I know they exist, and I know a lot of people who've benefited from them. So yeah.
Cool. So you come home from prison, right?
Yeah.
And you booking shows through your email, then you get your phone.
Right.
How you booking these events? How did you go from events to a moving company?
No, actually that was a move. So it was the other way around. Um, basically, um, the promo side of things, like I said, is something I had already been exposed to dealing with my mom. Just talking to people, talking trash, jokes, whatever. That was something that I was just used to as a child, period. So by the time I became an adult, it came naturally to me to just, make myself available to any and everybody who needed somebody who was well spoken, who can get up and keep a crowd going and crack a couple of jokes here and there, and stick to the script as far as what business we were handling at said event. So that's just a talent that something that I just gravitated to, because I guess, and the weird part is I'm really not, I'm really kind of shy, but that thing is just something that just, I don't know. I like doing it. I like speaking to kids, especially because I understand the need for leaders in our community, for somebody for them to look up to, as you have with the organizations and things that you started. So just being in that position and realizing that a lot of these kids actually just need somebody who is not their parents sometime to talk to, that they can be honest and open with, and that way you get a better interaction out of them, and you also can better help them make better decisions. Because with parents, I've been in mentoring sessions, and they've literally, the child is sharing something with me, and the mom is like, "What? I thought you said it was XYZ." I'm like, "Can you please be quiet?
Relax.
Just chill out." And so parents tend to have difficulty staying in a lane as a parent and not being so much of a friend as it is a parent. It's a tough balance to make, but it kind of alienates your children from you. So I've been very instrumental in following that passion as far as mentoring to the youth, and staying busy with any public speaking that anybody hires me to do, as well as just donating my time, my money, and whatever else to certain things in the community that I'm passionate about, people that I believe in. I support businesses out here in the community all the time. And that's just something that I'm passionate about, something that was instilled in me, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop, ever.
So how did you still didn't tell me how you got to the mover side?
Well, the mover situation was, there was a good friend of mine. His name is Antonio. I'm sorry, this is one of my business phones. I don't even know why somebody called it. His name is Antonio. Shout out to Antonio, by the way. Um, he was actually living in the same apartment complex. We went to high school together, and he was living in the same apartment complex that I was living in, and we were neighbors and didn't even know it. And so I met him one day in the midst of me doing my job, my jobby job at the time. And so I was doing that, and then he was like, "Hey man, I could use some help. Would you like to give a hand?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why not? I ain't doing nothing." And plus, I was still making money, so I ain't care. I started working for him. I was making $10 an hour moving, and I it was easy for me. It was something that anything I do and I touch, I take pride in what I'm doing. So it came naturally to me to just be great at whatever it is that I was doing, and so I actually went into business with him for a short time, and that didn't particularly work out for either of us. So we kind of parted ways. But I started the moving company then. Um, he basically showed me everything that I needed to know, and I just went my own way. And here I am, almost 12 years later. Well, no, actually, almost 14 years now. Almost 14 years later, because I actually had started the moving before I went to prison. I left that part out. So I started the landscaping while I was on the run. And I also started the moving company later on. Well, I started the moving company later on, not too long before I was apprehended. And, once I got to prison, I pretty much wrote up those plans and executed executed them flawlessly once I touched down.
We lost our guest. He'll be back. Small commercial break.
Was he breaking up or was
he
was
was
it just
breaking
me?
up, and I think that's when we lost him. So he'll come back.
Internet
but while we are waiting on him
everywhere.
to come back, if you guys have any questions that you want to post to our guests, please feel free to type them on the screen, and we will post them and ask him directly so that you can have, be part of this interaction. We do thank you all for tuning in and for viewing with us today. While our guest waits to come back, you got some tea for us, TaWanda?
My tea for today was real basic. Like, it's the end. Well, this is the last Thursday of Women's History Month. I just want to say hey and thank you to all women around the world, because we are the ish. Yes, we are.
Look who came back.
Yes.
Back. Yeah, I got this little ghetto internet over here. Sorry about that, guys.
Me too. Don't feel
out
bad.
for a second. How you doing, ma'am? Welcome to the party.
Thank you.
TaWanda. Is that how you say your name?
Thank you. Yep.
TaWanda.
That's it. Thank you.
Can y'all hear me?
You're choppy.
Okay.
You're choppy.
Okay. So yeah, the moving situation. Okay.
Keep going, but you're good now.
Give me 1 second.
In the meantime and in between time, did y'all know in Georgia everybody can go up to Mercedes-Benz, or I think it's somewhere in Gwinnett too. We lost them again. To get your COVID shot if you're getting the COVID shot. And they're recommending, even if you've had it and you have antibodies, that you go ahead and get the shot also.
Is it free?
I believe it is.
Hey,
I don't know, because then everybody will be up there. Don't
right?
Don't
That's TaWanda with the tea, girl.
No. No, but I think it is supposedly. But you can call the health department and see if they have the free shots or not.
And that's at Mercedes-Benz?
Yes. Is that at Mercedes-Benz and somewhere else here? I'll check and then I'll post it on the page.
Thank you. However, our guests will come back soon. Again, thank you all for tuning in on this amazing, amazing Thursday. Make sure you follow, like, share. We are here every Thursday highlighting Black businesses, melanated businesses. If you know someone who has a melanated business that you would like to highlight, please feel free to tune in and send me an email at just Joci at Melanated N Business, and I will definitely highlight them and bring them onto the show and just share their greatness with our people. You back official? You visiting or you here?
I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like I'm here.
You feel like you here?
It's funny once TaWanda came on is when it started messing up.
I know. It's my internet. My internet didn't want to let me on. Now
Really,
you got to get off.
Yeah, your internet is now hurting my internet. It's really some bad internet. So all right, sorry about that, everybody. But yeah, so that was pretty much how that whole thing got started. And
how you come on, Douglas?
Okay, maybe I need to go back out and see if he stays on.
Okay. Hey y'all. It's me. I got the good internet. Shout out.
Wait a minute now. I ain't gonna leave.
Shout out to AT&T for the good internet. I don't know what kind of internet they got, but they probably got Xfinity.
Right.
Okay, it's working now. I'm good now. I got this Xfinity crap, man. So
it's me too. I
just
yeah.
So AT&T. I've been good, no problem.
Xfinity.
And I had caught a snippet of something that TaWanda was saying, as far as, shout out to women, and I definitely want to send a shout out to all of the women in business. I've got to tell you, the majority of the support that I've had has come from women. The majority of my clients are women. I was raised by one, and women are still instrumental in my growth now. Which is why I have such an incredible amount of respect for women, and also just an incredible amount of respect for the things that the doors that you all are able to open that we are not able to open, because it's not always about strength. It's not always about power. Sometimes you got to twist that knob softly and just the right way, and sometimes women can do that. And I shout all of you every chance I get and support you, and just want you to know, somebody like me, I really appreciate everything that you guys do. I appreciate the support and everything that you guys bring to this world. So we can move along now.
Oh,
thank you.
Tear. So that was short lived. Let me get back to your business.
Yeah, you still here? That's what we needed.
Okay.
So you with the moving company, right? You guys have overhead. You need trucks. You need tape and boxes and all those types of things.
Yes,
so being a convicted felon, how did you approach needing funding?
Well, that's just the thing. Now, oddly, my mother taught me a lot about certain formats. I was spoken about that because I want people to understand that, you got to give them the whole kit and caboodle. She didn't teach me financial literacy. That is something that I didn't learn really until about 3 years ago. So I was on the mindset that cash was king. I didn't care anything about funding. I just needed to make money. And so once you get to a certain point where so everything I did, I just worked for it and I just paid for it. I just went ahead and just put the work in, and I just put the money on whatever it is that I needed. It really was never a challenge because I don't know. That's just what I was doing. So I was completely engulfed in everything I was doing. I worked every day, every move that I had for 4 years. I went on every move. I never missed a day. And so it was 4 years before I even start hiring people and sending them out to, on a larger scale. And then it kind of opened up to me hey, you need to be employing people. That's how we're going to get over this hump and how we're going to strengthen this community. We need to put this money in the hands of some people here in this community. And I had a lot of friends that was around and family members. We all went to work. We worked and we built this company together. And back then I was young. I started this company when I was 24 years old. And I mean, I'm 38 now. You know what I mean? So obviously there was a lot that I needed to learn over time. And just like we just discussed earlier in the broadcast, was that, it's just certain things that you don't learn until you go through them. And I've been through the fire. I'm still learning. But I got the basics down packed at this point. And so now at this point, I mean, obviously we got serious business credit. So we just, we can order that stuff 30-day net and get whatever it is we need, any amount of material, any amount of anything that we need at any given time. And I want to emphasize to business owners how important business credit is, how important having that in your corner, because it allows you to be in spaces that you normally wouldn't be in. If there was a job that required you to have a certain material or a certain tool or something like that, that is not enough within your working capital, something that's $5,000 and $10,000 to purchase for you to be able to continue to strengthen your brand or add services to your brand. Having business credit allows you to do that. I haven't really utilized mine to the fullest extent of its power, but I'm starting to tap into it. But that's very important. So all before it was mainly just let's just make the money and spend the cash. Now it's more so like I have the cash, but I'm still going to use the credit because I want more credit.
Has it been hard to acquire that credit now that you have, that you're financially literate, right? Is it
Uh-huh.
hard, or is it just kind of just worked out for you? Like,
The
has that been
biggest
a
thing
hindrance?
with the whole well, the thing is being a convicted felon has still been a hindrance. It's not, there's programs within my industry like I still can't be a part of, you know what I mean? So it still hurts in a way. But I'm going for to have all of that stuff removed in 2 years once I've satisfied the terms of what it takes because I don't want it holding me back any longer. Try to get a pardon or whatnot. But the just everything that transpired with that whole thing, it's actually pretty easy once you learn the formula. It's the biggest thing is time. It just takes time and paying attention to what it is that you're doing. And don't get me twisted, I'm not like some financial guru. I'm good at what I do. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning about all sorts of things, investments and all of those things. And you just, it's one of those things that once soon as you get something else comes along and it's like, oh, okay, got to learn this too. And so on the horizon, we're going to be breaking into the freight industry as well as towing. So these are things that are on our plate right now as far as moving forward and, what we're going to be doing business wise in the future, in the very near future. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. I mean, the thing is, um, once you've mastered one template in business, it's applicable to a lot of applications. You can apply things that you've learned in business to any application. I can start any business I want to right now, and I know exactly what to do. I know exactly how to get it up and running. I know exactly how to staff it. I know how to get the equipment that I need. I know how to do all those things. So those are just things that I learned over the years, and it was easy once I start focusing on it and like, okay, this is what I need to do. But just the thought of it before was kind of a handicap because I didn't know and I didn't know what to do. But once I start tapping into it and getting really serious about it, it opened up a lot of those doors and things are flowing very well now. So
So have y'all spoke about the licenses needed?
Nope.
okay. So any transportation company in the United States, you have to have a federal DOT number and a motor carrier number. Any trucks that you see on the road that like 18 wheelers, box trucks, if you are doing business in that truck, you have to be registered with the FMSCA in order to be licensed to carry household goods specifically across state lines or any lines for that matter. Also, in the state of Georgia, you have to be licensed in the state of Georgia in order to carry household goods as a carrier. I am a carrier. There are different type of carriers out there. There's freight carriers. There's, and household goods for example. And I'm a household goods carrier, but we are actually branching over into the freight side as well. And we're going to be doing that really soon too. So obviously you're going to need a ton of insurance. That's for sure. And you need, that's really pretty much it. Yeah. So you just need that licensing with the federal authorities and everything else. Just you got to provide for yourself.
So, what services does Zeus Movers provide?
Zeus Movers provides a range of services, obviously from moving, residential, business, commercial, pretty much anything within the scope of or language of moving. We also do event setups, tear downs, if somebody, I mean, we've built stages, we've built presentation stands for vendors who are in town doing trade shows. We've transported construction equipment to construction sites. We also do in-house moves too, which is something that is very commonly needed, but I guess a lot of people don't really see don't really think that it's a market, which is basically sometimes people need things moved around inside of their home. They might want to swap out a bedroom set to a different room or get rid of one because they got another one come in and take this one to that room and switch certain items. So that's something that comes in handy for a lot of people, and we offer that service as well as flat screen mounting and home theater installation if somebody should need that. Packing services, um, and I mean, any and all things moving, we deliver as well. So it's just a lot of people call me for a lot of different things besides moving. So I don't know. I mean, call me and see. I'll tell you yes and no. So I do it all. So yeah, but moving is something that we do that I'm very passionate about, and we're very good at it.
Now I understand that you're Black owned and operated. Is that Zeus Movers and Zeus Landscaping?
That's correct. Zeus Landscaping is actually owned by a woman, and she isn't here right now. But shout out to TaWanda. It's owned by a woman. I basically gave the company to her and allowed her to take control of that company. She's been doing very well with it. She is in her going into her second year of operating with that. I actually had started Zeus Landscaping about 4 years ago, and it took off so quickly. I had to stop after that season because it was almost like there were days I was literally jumping off a moving truck and then jumping on a lawnmower. In addition to the fact that I had hastily jumped into the business and didn't really necessarily do my homework as far as the equipment that I need. So I had bought a lot of stuff from like Lowe's and Home Depot, and that's not commercial grade equipment. So I literally was busting a lot of this equipment in half and spending, crazy money on repairs because this stuff wasn't really, built for that sort of business. And so I left that alone for the second because I literally pushed every bit of equipment I had during that time to the limit, and everything went really well. So I decided that obviously before I jumped back into that I wanted to do some more homework, take a look and see what needed to be tweaked, what can we improve on, and roll it back out in an official capacity. And once again, it's been doing very well. We're back in our second year now. We've had local contracts with Century 21, a host of incredible people who use our services on a regular basis, and who love our services. So Zeus Landscaping has just been, I don't know if it's just the industry or what, or if it's just me, or if it's the brand, but people seek out this brand for what they need, if it applies to what they need, and they generally get everything that we promise them. So works out beautifully.
Do you partner with real estate companies, brokerages?
Actually, I do. One in particular is Porter Realty, Justice Porter. Shout out to Justice. I actually just completed another project for her today on one of the properties that she's going to be listing really soon. So with both businesses, my mindset around what I do and the businesses that I list kind of goes hand in hand. I wanted to have businesses that are all connected in a way that if somebody was a homeowner, they obviously have more than one way to spend money with us and to shop with us. So naturally, we're moving you into your new house, and it's like, hey, you know what? By the way, here goes a flyer, and here goes a cool Zeus Landscaping ink pen. So when you get, if you need some landscapers, bada bing, bada boom, that kind of situation just ebbs and it flows. So it's perfect for that. Right. And we also have a pack and clean company that we haven't really put a lot of energy into because typically Well, right now during the pandemic, it is very difficult to employ people, so I'm keeping myself reserved with things to do. But it is something that I'm going to roll out to complete the trifecta of home services, which is the pack and clean company, as well as Zeus Movers, as well as the landscaping.
Nice. So tell everybody where they can find Zeus Movers again.
Okay. So you can find us on the web at www.zeusmovers.net or .com. You can pick one. I own them both. You can find Zeus Landscaping on the web at www.zeuslandscaping.net. You can find both of those on IG at Zeus_movers and Zeus_landscaping. You can follow me on IG, which, it's not very serious place, but I the_real_Zeus100. You can also reach us on that number you see back there. It looks kind of backwards on the screen, but it's 1-888-969-9387, which is also 1-888-969-Zeus.
that was an interesting exit.
Wow.
Wow, that was like perfectly timed.
He's like Zeus, click.
And out, look, over and out. I said that was a perfect timed exit there, sir.
They just doing me so wrong over here with this internet. I am so embarrassed.
So before we exit, if you had to give advice to a young man with a dream who is encountered some things that the odds that are against him, right? What advice would you give him?
Well, it's kind of hard to kind of blanket a certain kind of advice when you don't know the challenges that they're facing. But if I had to give a broad spectrum of what I always want to impress upon these young men and women is understanding that the decisions that you make now are going to be something that follows you for a lifetime. They don't go away. They don't. You don't get a do-over. You don't get an opportunity to, in a lot of cases, to say I'm sorry, and you get to reset and start over. Helping them to understand that, they are in charge of their destiny and where it is that they're going, and they literally can do anything. You hear people say that. I used to watch, some of these rich people on TV, and it would be so irritating to just hear them say, you could just really do anything you put your mind to. And it's like, that concept is simplistic in nature, but it's actually true. And the difference is do you have the tools? Do you have the opportunity? And the thing is I think what a lot of people, what challenges that a lot of young people run into is that they see how far they have to go to get where they're going. And for some reason or another, some people just don't get started because they don't understand that you ain't got nothing but time, and you will get there. The thing is, you got to start. So the name of the game for me has always been go. You got to go, and you got to start, and you have to wake up every day inspired and keep beating that pavement until you are exactly where you want to be. This stuff does not come. I built Zeus Movers from absolutely nothing. We still ain't nowhere as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Until we are nationwide, I don't feel like it's time for a parade just yet. But I built this company from absolutely nothing with my own blood, sweat, and tears. And of course, all of the people who contributed, who worked for this company all over the years, I appreciate them. I appreciate their contributions with making this brand great. But it was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of sleepless nights. It was a lot of not even getting an opportunity to go to sleep. It was a lot of challenges and learning things the hard way, the same way that we learn as children coming up. And so what I would tell them, if I just had to bottle it all up into one message, is to go, get started, Start your dreams. Do not defer and think that you have time and opportunity to go dabble in something else and circle back around to your dreams. Your dreams are marching to the beat of the drum that you play and the cadence that you play. And until you get started, until you go, nothing is going to happen. And the longer you delay that, you delay your dreams. And that would be what I would say in short as a broad statement to the youth.
And on that note, we can close out the show.
And I just like to say, I would like to say thank y'all for having me, by the way. Shout out to you, Joci. You know, I've known you for some years, and shout out to you as well, TaWanda. I haven't actually met you, but you seem like a nice lady, even though you was late. You know, so
you don't get about my co-host.
Yeah, and shout out to both of y'all. I appreciate you guys inviting me to do this and giving me this platform to share my business as well as share my experiences. And I'm thankful and grateful for the opportunity to do that. And hopefully I'll be able to do something for you guys too, you know, in the future. I'm like that. So, you know, anything I can do to help Melanated N Business, y'all feel free to reach out to me.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. We appreciate you being here and just telling your story and being transparent and open and sharing and being so friendly and welcoming in your demeanor.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, let me say thank you for not letting your circumstances hinder you in your journey. Push on. Also, we're going to say thank you to Xfinity because we know we're going to get it together. So next time when you are nationwide and you come back and talk to us, we're going to be on point. I'll be on time.
Yeah. I'm about to upgrade to some T1 over here. They ain't about to keep playing on me.
Right. Well, you know, AT&T is cool. Just putting that out there.
Do you work for AT&T or something, man? You keep.
She undercover work for AT&T. Yes, she do. Mm-hmm.
She got to. You do for real.
Tell them they need to pay you for these shout outs.
I'm talking about for real.
I gotta get us some sponsorships. Right.
Hey,
AT&T is the way to go.
Hey, you are absolutely right. You need to tell them to invest.
That is the way to go. So we thank you all for tuning in on this amazing interview. Another opportunity to be with us here, Melanated N Business. I am just Joci.
And I'm TaWanda with the T.
And we will see you next week.
I am Big Zeus.
All right.
We will see you next week, same place, where we highlight Black and Brown businesses for the community, for the upliftment of the community. For our people, we are here. We thank you, and we are out.
Bye. Thank y'all.